Welcome to episode 45 of our podcast, Sip in Sports. I'm Dave. This is Chris. How we doing, Chris? How are we doing?
We're doing great. I'm having a great week, so I'm pretty fired up to be here.
Yeah, got to be fired up. It's a big week.
Is it?
Big week. Good football coming up. A lot of basketball.
There's always a
Special
lot
little
of basketball.
tease. The fellas did something that hasn't been done in a while in the betting.
In a while, for sure.
Yeah, in the betting world. So it's a little tease. But we'll get to it later. So
It's true.
there it is.
All right, we're jumping in.
Yeah.
Top moment. What do you got?
American Express Open 2023, first golf tournament. Xander Schauffele, some would say one of some people's favorite players. Albatross, first time in 3 years that it's been done in all the PGA events. Albatross from 225 yards out. That's a 2 on a par 5.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. That would be,
How far was it?
225 away. Drove it 314, hit it 225. Over water.
Oh, okay.
Stuck it.
I was like 225.
No, like that was the shot to the hole.
Okay.
So the hole was like a par 5, obviously.
Something.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, hole in one up there, Albatross, pretty
Jesus.
cool. They're pretty cool.
What would you rather have? A hole in one?
Because you can see.
Well, you
it.
already have one. How many? Two? Yeah.
But
two.
nah, I'm not tooting my own horn. I actually do not have an Albatross.
So maybe that
Till
is
this
cooler.
year. So wait, remember this episode. Somebody will have an Albatross, one of our friends. I don't think I've seen an Albatross either. You know how far that is though? If it's a hole of 500 yards, you have to do 250 to 250.
Pretty much, yeah.
And you can't use a driver twice.
I mean, you could.
I guess.
It probably won't go over very well.
Yeah, shout out Les who hits driver off the deck. But like for me, I can't do that.
It still doesn't go over very well. I will say, I'm just gonna say it.
Okay.
In Josh Suchi's golf scramble tournament thing.
Yep.
The first time I played in it, one of the holes, hole 5, I think.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Par 5. It kind of like dog legs left, and it's a scramble, right? So you got to force them. Smash my drive right down the middle.
Okay. What if it's a dog leg you want? Yeah. Okay. Keep going.
Sorry, right down the middle of the fairway is where it ended.
Yeah.
So it was like right in the middle of the fairway.
Mm-hmm.
Smashed my 5-iron, and I was probably like 3 to 4 feet away.
Damn.
So that's the
pretty
closest
close.
I've
That's
ever
a tap
been.
and eagle, some would say.
So I had the hole to myself on a scramble, which is always a good feeling.
Yeah.
But that's as close as I've been.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't know.
You never hit a hole in one?
No, never.
Okay. So that is pretty cool.
I don't know. Par 3s scare me.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get it on the green.
Yeah, to be
so I
honest,
don't
it's
lose
almost
money.
like one of those things where it's like you hit it and then you just are like hoping, and then all of a sudden it's like mine, it just kind of rolled in one time and I was like, oh shit, that was a hole in one. Like like it's weird, but then you're like, what do you do? Like you throw your club? Do you just give a high five? What do you do?
Did you do? The first
I
one.
gave him a hug. It was with my buddy Alec Canope. It was at Southern Hills, Andrew Paul's track, and it was on the par 3, and it rolled into the hole. Like I hit it way long, and I stopped looking at it, and it kept rolling, and then it went in.
So you didn't even see it happen?
No,
Dang. Bummer.
sorry.
All right, my top moment is, I wish I would have told everybody this last week, but Boston Scott, he was a questioned Giants killer leading up into this last week.
Yeah.
Of the 17 touchdowns that he had,
18 at that. Oh, 17 had.
Going into this last week.
Right.
Thanks for spoiling the surprise. Going into last weekend's game, Boston Scott had scored 17 touchdowns in his career, and he had 9 against the Giants. So out of 17, 9 of them were against the Giants. Obviously in the same division, so you get pretty much 2 games at least every year against them.
Yep.
Over half of his touchdowns had been against one team.
That's crazy.
Leading up into this game, everybody knew that. His anytime touchdown odds were plus 340. So put $10 on it, win 34. Or put $100, get $340.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So
Wow.
going into the game, it's like, okay, is Boston Scott going to score? He's not the starting running back. He's never been the starting running back for the Eagles.
No, he's a little guy.
Very small guy. So you don't expect him to get all these touchdowns rushing.
Right. Yeah.
And then what does he do? Scores a touchdown.
Not gambling advice, but would have been good to know.
18 touchdowns in 10 games now.
That's crazy.
So
he
pretty
is
good ratio.
confirmed a Giants killer.
Yeah. I mean, if he's not, I don't know who is.
Well, we'll see. I mean, next year.
That's a crazy stat, though.
I guess you'll have to put it on the bets. You have to say anytime touchdown score.
Might have to.
So, there it is.
I know. It's too bad it's so far away. But, oh well. What do? You live and you learn.
Yeah,
That's all you can do.
It's always next year.
All right, Minnesota Minute. How we looking?
Yeah, bang. So, Minnesota Timberwolves, brutal loss to the Rockets.
Brutal.
Actually, on Monday night, I believe. Yeah, Monday night.
Yeah.
They play the Pelicans on Wednesday and then the Grizzlies at home Friday. Wild currently 25, 16, and 4. And they play the Lightning, Flyers, and Sabres coming up. Gophers basketball lost to Michigan. Did cover, but lost by 4 points. They play Indiana and Northwestern coming up. St. Thomas basketball, a little bit on a skid. They lost the last 3. They just lost to Western Illinois. They actually play South Dakota State and South Dakota coming up. In other news, the Minnesota Twins traded away our favorite player, Luis Ariz, to the Marlins for Jorge Lopez and some prospects. I know people aren't too
What do we know about that guy?
He's a good pitcher. He could be our number 2 behind Joe Ryan. But I will say this at the same time. Logically, I don't know why it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he's our number 2, you just gave up the reigning AL
Our best player.
Silver Slugger. So it's like, I don't get it. And I get it's like all this prospects BS. It's like, dude, we've had prospects in our freaking farm system for 10 years.
Right.
Like, I get it. Let's prove what you can do now. And he's proved that. So, and maybe he's about to get paid a lot of money. I don't know. But we also just paid Carlos Correa way more money than he should have. And now I'll miss the guy. He just plays hard. He's a good baseball player. He's a fun player to watch. So
He is a good player.
we'll see. I mean, if Jorge Lopez is great, we've always needed pitching, but why
Our
not
pitching is always really bad.
Yeah, but why not go pay $200 million to a pitcher instead of freaking Carlos Correa? Ugh. Rubs me the wrong way. Not a Correa fan. I think he's overrated.
Couldn't tell.
Yeah, so that's the Minnesota Minute.
All right, thanks, David. Okay, we are on to the betting recap. So,
say it. Let the people know. Come on.
this is the first week in a long time that, well, we've talked about it before.
Yep.
The goal is 55%. That means you're making money.
You're making money. Yeah.
Yep.
You're in the green.
And what did we do?
Oh.
We were both above 55. Well, 55 or above 55%.
There it
this
is.
last week.
It's crazy.
So
It was actually crazy. I mean, we both had pretty good weekend days, Saturdays.
yeah,
We had
which
pretty
is the biggest day. Let me tell you,
Oh, here
I
we go.
don't know how many other feelings are better than when you wake up on Saturday morning, you look at the slate of games, and you got 150 basketball games to choose from. You got NBA games, you got NFL games, you got, I don't know, what else?
Well, you got
Well, a
NHL
couple
if you
NHL
wanna
games.
do- Yeah, but I think the crazy thing is
You
that
can't beat it.
truthfully, everybody plays on Saturday for
Everybody.
college basketball.
Yeah.
And so it's great because it's either a turning day where you can either go really bad or really
Mm-hmm.
good. And we ended up
Really good.
going pretty good. I would say pretty good. Yeah, pretty good.
Saturday was really good.
Yeah.
Specifically. All right, let's jump into it. David, overall 44 and 29. Solid mark.
Yeah, that's 15 games over 500.
That is 15 games over 500.
Decent.
That put him at 10 and 7 NBA, so not that great.
Yeah, over 500,
NBA.
but not like... anything.
4 and 2 NFL,
Yeah.
30 and 20 NCAA basketball, which is a good thing because that's going to be pretty much most of the games going forward.
Yeah.
That and NBA.
There's a
pretty
lot
soon.
of times I'll sit there on Saturday, wake up, look at the lines, and I'll just start going off on college
Just
basketball.
tapping.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's happened. And like I said, it's just a good week. So
Yep. Yeah, so that was 44-29. Myself, I was 40 and 34. So still above 500, still 55%. But my NBA was 8 and 9, so actually less than 500 NBA.
yeah, that's
which
crazy.
is kind of shocking.
Mhm.
NFL 4 and 7. Also kind of
Way
shocking.
below 5. Yeah.
Well, 3 games. Yeah.
Yeah.
And but then NCAA basketball 28 and 18.
Okay.
So much better.
So they'll pick it up.
Yep.
I will say it was kind of funny. This is a little background story. I did get a text message from Chris on Saturday that said, "Hey, you're doing well. Keep it up." Like whatever or something. I don't know what it said.
What was it at? Like not 8, 9.
It was at like 8. So I still had
8,
like 3 or 4
PM.
more bets. Those three bets all lost.
All lost.
They literally all lost. So that was just bad juju. And then on Sunday, we were talking and you said, okay, let's go 2 weeks. Or like you mentioned something. I think Monday morning you mentioned something and you were like, oh, hey, this was the first week we both were what a positive
55% or above.
55% or above. And so I was like, oh, great, let's go for 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, one of us didn't start off the week well
Not
on
great.
Monday going over. So this is a grind week. We'll pick it back up, but it's a long week.
That's true.
So we're here. It's always fun. Also, My Action Network. I think it's My Action Network or is it just My Action?
Yeah,
It's an app. You can get it on the iPhone. You can get it on the Android. You can get it wherever you want. So follow your boys.
Yep.
There it is.
We're moving on, folks.
Bang, bang.
Beer and seltzer. What seltzer we got?
We're back. So we tried this other one, Central Waters Hard Seltzer, Thimbleberry Lemonade. It was below average. This one is another one in that pack. Excuse me. It's called Blueberry and White Peach. Blueberry
White
and
peach,
white
huh?
peach.
That's interesting.
So, see how it goes. And, sorry, Lush.
We
A little close
will
to the
see
can.
how it goes.
Yeah.
Beer for today is an ode to Thanksgiving. I wish I would have found this at
Around
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving time.
Yeah, but it's let's see, what kind is it? It just says, honestly, the can really just says cranberry.
Yeah, it says what is the brewery? What, DownEast?
Yep, it's from DownEast,
And that just says cranberry.
made in New England. Literally just says cranberry.
Yeah, pretty.
That's it.
Some would say the most simple can we've ever seen.
Yeah, but it says that it's an ode to canned versus fresh cranberry debate.
Yeah. Do you think it's gonna be colorful?
I think it's gonna be red.
Red.
Yeah,
Okay.
a red.
Here's a
tint.
question for you at Thanksgiving.
A clear red.
Here's a question for you at Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Do you eat cranberries? Like, you know how they have that? Yeah, me either. I think they're disgusting.
Do you think it's gonna be red?
I think it'll be. Is it a sour? Did you say? What did you say?
It literally just says cranberry.
Oh,
It does not say
What
sour.
percent
It
alcohol?
doesn't- It's 5.
I think it'll be. I think it'll be a red. I think it'll be a darker red.
You think dark? I
Yeah,
think it's
like a cranberry.
I think it's a clear
I
red.
think it'll be like that color of the can. That's up for interpretation.
Not like the can.
Yeah, not like the can. I think it's just because we have the light on it too.
Gotta be.
Yeah. Yeah. So what? I mean, it's pretty thick. I mean,
It's
whatever.
hazy.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in a little bit. So we're getting on to the blueberry and white
Peach.
Pretty cool.
It smells a lot like peach, honestly. That's what I'm
Yeah.
getting.
Why do you think it's white peach?
Maybe it's the color, since it's clear.
Yeah. Interesting.
What was it? Blueberry, white peach?
Blueberry.
Yeah. I'm not getting a lot of blueberry scent. I'm getting a lot of white peach scent.
I don't tell you, when you drink it, you don't get a lot of either. This has probably been the worst pack, all in all.
Was that what we had said on this first one?
The Thimbleberry?
That it was just like drinking sparkling water? Or was
Yeah.
that a different one that we had done?
Mm-mm.
That was this one?
That was this one. That was the Thimbleberry lemonade, and it's kind of
Man.
the same thing. You know, you try to give it this benefit of the doubt and like a second look, because you're kind of like, maybe the first can was just the flavor wasn't great.
This is literally
Same
carbonated
thing.
water.
It's carbonated water. There's no
Nothing.
no
taste.
blueberry and there's no peach. I don't think.
No. Yeah,
Could be wrong.
disappointing.
Not wrong a lot. Could be wrong here.
I do remember that
Yeah.
since it was it was so nondescript. I remember my rating was a 5.
Yeah. It was a flat 5, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, straight 5.
Yep.
Which I feel like I don't know. I don't know if I can give that score again.
Yeah, I don't think it didn't really change my mind about the whole thing. It's Central Waters Hard Seltzer, just not great. Really not great, unfortunately.
All right, what are you giving it?
I'm giving it a 4.8. I think it's around the same as the first one. Like, truthfully, there's not a lot there.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of the same review as we did before. Just flavored water.
I'm giving it a 3.8.
3.8. Whoa, 1.2 different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think before it was like, okay, it's nondescript. It doesn't really have much going on, but it's just kind of like, eh. And this one, it's like, now I kind of know.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that maybe it was a little different, but this is really just how it is. And I mean,
Central Waters.
I'm not drinking a seltzer to drink carbonated water.
Yeah.
So
there's nothing to
if
it.
you're looking for a carbonated water that is a seltzer, or you want a seltzer that is carbonated water, then this one could be the one for you because it tastes like water that has bubbles in it.
So they're all for 2.
All right. There you go.
Move on to the
It does only have 2 grams of carbs. That is a positive. 2 grams of carbs, 100 calories.
Yeah, but a regular sparkling water probably has 0 carbs.
It's true.
Food for thought.
That is true. All right, we got cranberry. Does it smell like cranberry?
Whoa. No.
I don't know if it smells like
I'll be honest. I don't know if these are like cranberry seeds or you just didn't wash these glasses, but do you have them too?
I have some seeds in there.
Okay, I think then maybe I'm okay. Look at this. The little guys are floating. A little black thing. I don't know.
I don't drink anything that has seeds.
Might have to be a BYOG. I might have to bring my own glass.
I don't drink anything that has seeds in it. So I don't know what they would be.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to go out on a limb. I don't think it tastes a ton like cranberries, but I'll go out on a limb here. This will, and I think I've said this about other sours, this will compete for one of the best sours. I think it's pretty good.
It's not
overpowering.
It's not super sour. There's been some that
Oh,
are
yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, this tastes like kind of like juice.
And you can, if you go back to those episodes, you'll be able to tell because our reactions are like, holy crap. This one is not super overpowering.
Right. Not at all.
But it's a good amount, I would say.
Yeah, it literally tastes similar to juice. And it's not really a ton of cranberry, so it's kind of interesting like that.
I'm getting a little bit of cranberry specifically towards the end.
Maybe you ate one of those seeds.
That just lingers on the tongue.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it's good. I think it's very good. I think it's very good. It's one of those that I would definitely get at a brewery. For sure. I think these sours are starting to grow on me.
Well, we've been doing enough of them.
Yeah. I don't know. It's gotten my palate. My palate's been good.
It's kind of weird how it doesn't say if it's a sour or not.
We know it's upside down.
Does that throw you off?
Why? Because the best way to drink our unfiltered cider.
Oh, it's a cider.
Unfiltered cider. Oh, maybe we read the dang description, Chris.
It's not a sour, it's a cider.
Yeah. It's good though. I got my score.
I guess I kind of get a little bit of like an Angry Orchard.
It's pretty easy to drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would say it's more sour and cider than just cider.
Okay. That's a fair assumption. Yeah, I could see that.
You know?
Sure.
Okay, what do you got?
So my score, I'm giving it a 7.9.
7.9?
Yeah, it's one of my best scores.
Is that
yet.
like your best score to date?
Yeah, I don't think I've gone into I think I might have given another 7, high 7s, but I don't think I've ever gone into the 8s. So okay. I think it's pretty good. If you like sours, it's very good. Mm-hmm. And I think it's pretty good.
I'm giving it a 6.5.
6.5, okay.
Yeah. Still pretty good.
Yeah.
But
it's a solid score.
Yeah. Solid score.
It's a solid score. And that's what you ask for. Like, that's what people ask for. They ask for solid scores.
That's what I'm giving it. Solid score.
Solidity.
There you go.
Solidity. I don't know if that's a word. Go for it.
And that's what they call it.
Oh, and that's what they, yeah.
I was waiting. Come on, David.
Yeah, that's my bad.
It's okay. We'll be back next week so that you can make it up to me.
I'll be saying it like 6 times.
Yeah. Right.
In my sleep. Yeah.
All right, folks. Here's the plan for today. So we're going to sprinkle NFL. Sprinkle and then just sprinkle a tiny bit more.
Yeah.
After that, we're starting a new series.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you want to think about a name for this, but we're going to take you through. So we mapped it out. We're 7 weeks from Selection Sunday.
Which is huge.
Massive.
Probably one of the most fun times of the year.
Absolutely.
I would say fantasy football's up there. I would say this, though, is probably one of the most fun things in sports.
March Madness tournament?
Yep.
Yeah.
March Madness tournament, yeah.
I would say, the first 2 days of March Madness tournament
are electric.
I mean, yeah, you get at least 2 games the entire day. All day, both of those days.
Yeah, I think it's
until
crazy.
Literally 11 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Right, 100%.
And then you just get to do it again the second day.
Yeah, you wake up and you do the same thing.
So
it's great.
So with that in mind, 7 weeks away, that means 6 weeks away from conference tournaments. So conference tournaments usually go, what do they go, from Wednesday? Tuesday?
Is it Wednesday? No, it must be Wednesday. Must be Wednesday. The lower seeds, like if you're talking Big Ten, like the 9, 10, 11, 12 must be Wednesday.
Tuesday?
No, Tuesday.
I thought it might be Tuesday.
I think Tuesday's too early.
It's either Tuesday or Wednesday of the week before Selection Sunday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, conference tournaments. I mean, they start earlier, a little bit earlier than that, but they kind of go in from Tuesday or Wednesday up till the 12th of March, which is Selection Sunday.
March 8th is a Wednesday.
That's when the Big Ten
Yep,
starts?
March 8th till the 12th.
Okay. But the Big Ten goes from Wednesday to Sunday. There might be somebody that goes Tuesday to Saturday. Because not all...
That was just the Big Ten.
Yeah, not all tournaments go till Sunday.
Yep.
But anyways, we digress. So we got 6 weeks till conference tournaments, 7 weeks till Selection Sunday. And that means that we want to tell you about the different teams that we're seeing.
Yeah, give you kind of like updates every week about different conferences.
Yes.
And this week we're starting with
the Pac-12.
Pac-12.
Yeah.
Boy, wow. Jesus. Get this guy some cue cards.
So we've obviously been doing some research, looking at a little bit more closely different teams that might be beneficial come tournament time, teams that are struggling that need to pick it up, or teams that are right on the
bubble,
the cusp, and need to keep doing what they're doing or bump it up just a little bit.
Yeah.
So we'll go conference by conference.
Yep.
Each episode will be one conference.
Right.
Until the last one.
Yep.
But we're starting Pac-12.
But first we're doing NFL.
Oh, yeah. Ugh. Threw me off. We're doing NFL first with the sprinkle. Then we're doing Pac-12.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So NFL. We got 4 teams left. I think if you rewind back probably like 4 or 5 weeks, these were 4 of the 6 teams that pretty much everybody had in the conference championships.
Yeah. I mean, I truly think these are the 4. I mean, you could throw the Bills potentially in there as
they
one of the 4.
They didn't look great this last
They didn't look great, but I think they were kind of, you'd be talking about the same thing whether they won or lost. So those 2 teams are pretty comparable.
Yep.
But I would say these are the 4 teams. Like, everyone wants to see the Niners play the Eagles. Those were obviously the top 2
in the
NFC.
For sure.
And then the Chiefs obviously being up there. I think the AFC, though, had 3 teams where you could mix the Bills in. So it's kind of those 3 teams.
Yeah. NFC had pretty much 2.
Right. The NFC, I mean, these 2 teams have been dominant
teams.
And they both showed it. I mean, well, I will say this. In recap quick, the Eagles showed how dominant they were. Granted, the Giants looked like a completely different team.
Terrible. They looked terrible. The Vikings made them look very good.
Yeah.
They looked quite bad.
Yeah, they looked quite bad, and probably a big-time reason why the Vikings fired their defensive coordinator. But I think when you look at the Eagles 49ers, I think it's a very interesting matchup because the 49ers offense against Dallas struggled a lot. Mm-hmm. And their defense kind of picked it up. So I think it's 2 defenses that are pretty good, if not 2 of the top 2 or 3 defenses in the league, and then obviously it'll be interesting to see how San Francisco battles with that because, like I said, the Eagles looked like they were clicking from the get-go.
Yeah. Which you don't always see by a number 1 seed that had a bye week the week before.
Right, you kind of get that momentum. Like the team that has momentum sometimes carries it over, but you didn't see that. So
you did not see that. I think it helped that it was a division opponent.
Yeah, and I think they kind of showed that, and I think once they started it off, and I think since they played each other multiple times, they kind of knew what the strategy was.
Yeah.
And they just took Saquon away, and they took the run away, so it was like, okay, well, Daniel Jones isn't going to beat us. And the difference was...
Not by throwing.
And then the difference with that game was when the Vikings played him, he ran for, 70 yards?
So
they did not let him run. They said,
many.
screw it. We're going to put one-on-one with your receivers versus our defensive backs, and we're going to win. And
that's the difference between the Eagles defense and the Vikings defense, though, is they have corners and secondary guys that you can let go one-on-one.
100%.
And
we don't have that. Yeah, brutal.
And, the Vikings do not.
Yeah, so, it'll be a fun game. This is the teams you want to see. I think it could go either way, so.
All right, so... What is it? So they're both on Sunday, 2 o'clock and 5:30 p.m. What do you think about those game times?
I actually kind of like it. And I'll throw this out there. I kind of like even last week. I feel like I don't know why they're doing it, but
Was it 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock last week?
I think it was 6. For some reason, 6. Or maybe it was 5:30 again.
Something like that.
But it seemed like it ended earlier.
Now that you mention it, I actually think I remember from last year, and I was like, man, it is so nice to have games at either 2 and 5 or 1 and 4 because they get over at 7 or 8 and you still have time before you have to just crawl into bed.
Right.
Sometimes Sunday night games, I will let you know, are just brutal because they get over at 10:30.
Yeah.
And it's like,
this one started at 5:30.
Get ready to go
in California. And so I get it. You look at it now, it's okay, so it'll be at 2 o'clock Central Time, which is literally 12 o'clock California time, which is 3 o'clock Philadelphia time, which is great. And even the last game, the last game was 5:30 here. Yeah. That's the downfall, is sometimes it's literally the Sunday night games, it's 10:30, 10:45, and it's oh my God, dude, I just want to go to bed, truthfully.
Here's a question for you. What time zone do you think is the best for sports?
Strictly sports?
Mm-hmm. The easiest way to think about it is NFL, because you got, for the central time zone, you got 12, 3, and 7.
Yeah.
For East Coast, that means it's 1, 4, and 8. Or for West Coast, you got 10, 1, and 5.
Yeah, and I think this is the thing. I don't know. It's a tough answer because, gambling-wise, I would say it's West Coast because you can wake up on a Saturday. The problem is it's hard because college football starts at 9 a.m.
Right.
That's a whole day activity. You can't even wake up and do anything in the morning. You're waking up and going.
Right.
So
full day activity.
So right, that's why I think it's different. I do like Central Time. I think 11 o'clock for that. The worst time is for sure East Coast. It's by far the worst time. But if we're throwing backwards to NFL, it's the worst time because games start at 9 p.m.
Yeah, but going back to what you said, West Coast, it takes up your full day. It starts at 9 a.m. Well, now you have a full morning to do whatever you want. That's not related, and then it gets into it at 1 p.m.
Yeah, I think that there is a difference. That's why I'll say this, I think Central Time Zone's the best. Mm-hmm. Because I think you kind of get the best of both worlds. Yeah, sometimes it gets late on Sunday night, but it's 10:30, so it's okay, great to put on in bed and just fall asleep after the game's over.
Do you think that is partially because for most of your life, well, all of your life, you've lived in the Central Time Zone, so it's what you know the most? Do you think that's what...
I might play a part in it, but I also think what plays a part is when you just rationally think about it, games start at 12. Okay, I can wake up and do something. Or games start at 11. Think about this. If games started at 9 o'clock, what they do on the West Coast, we think tailgating 11 o'clock game is struggling sometimes. You're 9 o'clock. You're not tailgating. Granted, they won't have those.
Yeah, they don't get the 9 a.m. games. It's just to watch other games.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. I just think that, to me, is just way too early, where it's 9 a.m. is a little aggressive. So like I said, I think Central Time Zone's great. I think the 12 o'clock games, because it's dude, it's 12 o'clock. The games are then go till 3. I mean, like you said, it probably is a little biasy because that's what I've had my whole life. But
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's sometimes where I'm in California and it is nice where it's like, hey, wake up and games start at 10 o'clock on a Sunday.
Yeah.
You can't beat it. That's why Vegas loves it, but that's my choice.
Yeah, right. Love it.
So,
All right. Okay, so we got 49ers Eagles first game. Lines 2.5 currently for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Over under 46.
yeah.
Let's see. Storylines. I think it is interesting. We'll have to see about Christian McCaffrey. He was only playing third downs in this last game.
Yeah.
Specifically in the
weird.
second half.
Yeah.
He
must have aggravated something.
Well, his calf was giving him problems.
Suck it up.
So
Suck it up.
we'll
Christian.
see if he's like full go or if he's still hobbled a little bit.
Well,
by
I think that was a big reason why the offense kind of was a little bit stalemated. Was in the sense that
Well, they scored one touchdown,
yeah,
The
I mean,
whole game?
both teams. Yeah, both teams only scored one touchdown.
one touchdown each.
One touchdown each.
Yeah.
Missed extra point by the man, Money Maher. But, yeah, I don't know. I think 2.5 is a good line. I think it's pretty much like a pick 'em. I think it will be close. I think it will be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my only take, and I think this is why I do like San Francisco. They're one of my teams to win it all, but I do think it'll be interesting.
Your only team.
Correct. Left. The thing that'll interest me is it hard to go over across country to a colder weather? You're not used to playing in colder weather.
Probably.
And it's Philadelphia. Philadelphia, this is no shot at
Nasty.
Philadelphia people. I don't care. You
No,
are
it's
nasty people.
It's a shot.
Yeah, it's nasty people.
It's a full shot.
I mean, it's nasty people.
Straight vodka.
So I think the thing is, I think it will be very interesting to see how they perform. But you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say the Niners win that game.
I don't know if that's a limb. I think there's a reasonable chance for any of the 4 teams to win it.
Yeah, they can all win. But I'm saying, I will say this, going against the odds, I don't even want the 2.5. I want the straight up dubs.
Do you want to make a bet right now? $20?
No, not at all. Not really.
Oh.
No.
Okay. That's okay then.
That was a quick answer.
I think the Eagles are going to win.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, like you
Home
said.
field advantage.
Yeah.
And I just think that their offense is going to be too good. I mean, they put up 38 points this last week.
Right. So
They
we'll
almost
see.
hit this over by themselves.
Right. We'll wait and see what happens.
Yeah, I think they'll be just fine.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think over under?
I'm gonna say over.
You think?
Yep. I think the Eagles score 28, and I think the Niners will score 31.
That would be over. That'd be 57. 58, 59?
I think they score again.
I don't know. I mean, the 49ers offense looked terrible this last week, but they were so good in recent weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember actually going on this show, and we both were very adamant that the
over was going to
would
hit. Yeah, and it definitely did not.
Nope.
So many field goals.
Not one over hit actually the whole weekend. Fun fact.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it could be. I think it over too.
I think everyone wants to see the over. Everyone wants to see points.
Yeah, the Eagles' offense is too good.
It's tough to bet the unders. No one likes the unders. All right, move on.
Yeah, second game. We got Bengals at Chiefs.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted the Bills-Chiefs neutral site game. Well, you didn't get it.
Except for the Bengals.
Except for the Bengals.
Give them credit. They played well.
Obviously, the big storyline is Patrick Mahomes. High ankle sprain last week. So he's questionable to play.
Right.
Which is reflected in the line. It opened up, I believe, what was it, 1.5 or 2.5 Chiefs? 1.5 Chiefs.
It flipped.
And now it flipped to 1.5 Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So 1.5 point favorites for the Bengals.
Yep.
On the road.
Yeah, in Kansas City. Yep.
Over-under's 47.
Yep.
It says weather's 35 degrees.
Yeah, I think it will be fine. And I think truthfully, obviously the Patrick Mahomes thing, obviously if he comes out and is not able to play, it will change the line significantly.
2.
I think it'll change the line to 6.5, 5.5, 6.5. I would actually lean more towards 6.5 Bengals. Truthfully.
6.5.
Bengals. But I think Patrick Mahomes will play. I don't think he'll be the same dynamic, so that's why I will be taking the Bengals.
Oh, yeah, I think the Bengals.
Joey Burrow showed what Joey Burrow can do. They have way too many weapons. Like, way too many weapons.
A lot of weapons.
And just the thing is, it was like, what was crazy to me is, I know the Bills are great. Josh Allen's great. It's snowing. You're playing in a blizzard. Maybe do some short passes. The Bengals rolled through you.
Yeah.
And the Bengals looked great. And it was just like, what? That just exposed you guys. So I do think the Bengals will go to the Super Bowl. So that's my take. I also would love to see the over because I think everyone, like I said, this is one of those matchups where it's like Joe Burrow. This is one of those matchups where even if the Bills were there, these three teams are just going to keep battling out to go to the Super Bowl. And so...
Well, I think it's very realistic that the next, 4 or 5 years, it's these same teams.
Right.
In the AFC specifically.
The AFC. Well,
Bengals, Chiefs, Bills.
Yeah, even in the NFC. I mean, the Eagles will be very good for a while.
Yeah, but I think there's a little bit more question mark. With the 49ers have a good scheme, but their quarterback position is a little bit questionable.
Yeah.
And there wasn't really another team. So there's other teams that could potentially come into the picture. Whereas the AFC, I feel pretty confident saying those three teams are probably going to be the best three teams.
Yeah, 100%.
In the next
I would
4 or 5
definitely
years.
concur with that and agree.
Yeah.
So.
All right, well...
Who do you think's going to win? Who'd you say?
Bengals.
Oh, you said
Yeah. And also, I had a realization either yesterday or the day before. I very much enjoy watching Joe Burrow play, and I think that his swagger is unmatched. And
100%.
it's very, it draws me in.
Okay.
So
you're a Joe Burrow fan.
I just enjoy watching him play. Yeah. And I had that realization in the last 2 days. I never really thought about it like that before.
I think the difference with Joe Burrow and what makes him fun though is he's kind of now accepted the fact that he's like a swag guy. Like, and he's always, I mean, you look at like,
big
obviously when
guy.
they won the national championship at LSU, he was smoking the cigar and that photo went viral.
Yeah.
But like now you look at him, like when he walks into an arena, like he knows he's being obviously videoed.
Dude.
Yeah, and it's like there was a clip of him, I think it was on Twitter, that was like him throwing a deep ball.
Yeah,
and he
sick.
spun it right away.
That
It was like the
was
coolest
sick.
clip. And it was like, okay, this guy gets it.
If you haven't seen that video, you should find it. Because
And here's the thing about him too is what's crazy. I also saw another video about him. He literally is the first person to like, he doesn't blame anybody on his team. Like he's a good leader guy for that team and people love him. So I do think it'll be fun to watch. I think he deserves a Super Bowl at some point, and this year could potentially be that.
Could be the one.
So, yeah.
All right, there was your sprinkle. Was that a sprinkle?
That was more of a dollop.
A hefty
Hefty
pour.
dollop. But now let's get down with the get downs.
Yeah, Pac-12's Pac-12 deep dive.
Whoop!
So, all right, we can take out a couple teams.
We could take out the bottom 6 teams.
So,
also, I will say this. I don't have the greatest memory. I do recall, and don't think I forgot. I said at the beginning of the year that not one Pac-12 team would make the Elite Eight. We shook on it.
yeah.
There is that.
Yeah.
I will say this right now.
It's going to have to be UCLA or Arizona.
Yeah, it's good.
It's a
Whoa.
two.
It's going to be a 2-man race.
It's a two.
And so I'm not
horse
saying
race.
I feel good. I think those teams are both very good. But when you only have 2 teams to pick from, okay, my odds really aren't looking too bad.
Yeah. But I also feel like the Pac-12 can sometimes be similar to, let's see, the middle of the ACC or...
Yeah. That's a fair assumption, I think.
Yeah, where it's like, oh, you expect these couple teams to be good, but then the... does that end in tie?
No, it goes to a shootout. Chill.
Where you're like, oh, it's these 3 teams or it's nobody in the ACC.
Right.
And then just like a random Miami or Syracuse who's like an 8 or 9 seed will make it to the Elite 8.
Yeah.
Like I could see where it's like, oh, Arizona State. Could they sneak in as a 12 seed and make a little run for it? Possibly. USC, Boogie Ellis is legit.
Yeah, he's good. I think the difference, though, is like when you look at those top 2 teams who just played each other and Arizona won, both of those teams kind of showed a huge downfall in the sense that UCLA, they don't score that much. Like, they only put up 52 points. So it's like, here's the thing is, if you get a team that plays good defense and UCLA's cold, that's tough. It's
I think
tough.
they'll be okay.
I think they'll be okay too. Jaquez is a beast.
Yeah.
He's good. But I think, like you said, I think it's truly those two teams.
Mm-hmm.
Because you look up and down the lineup, like...
Yeah, let's start at the bottom. Because we know...
How much you want to mention about California?
Right, no, that's what I'm saying. We can take a couple of these teams out pretty quick.
Very quick, yep.
So, you got Cal at the bottom. 3-17 overall.
Really bad.
Who was the guy from Devin Askew?
Yep, Kentucky guy.
Transferred from Kentucky. He was hurt for a good amount of their games.
Yeah.
Which meant that they were so bad without him. They're still not great with him.
He's pretty much the guy.
But they were so bad without him. So they were just getting dominated every game.
Yeah, that was tough. That was a tough shot. But, I mean, they're just bad. They're bad. 3-17 overall.
2-7 in the conference.
2-7 in the conference.
However, Stanford and Oregon State both tied in the conference with them at 2-7. I don't know what the expectations were for Stanford, but I don't know. When I think about Stanford, I just expect more out of them.
I think Stanford has always seemed like it's a solid team, but I think truthfully,
but I think they have been.
I think they have been too, and I think they've kind of shown that. But I think at the same time, nowadays, like when you look at like Stanford, like just in general, like they just aren't great. So they're kind of a letdown.
Yeah, Oregon State.
Wow. There it was.
Let's go. That's a
He's
dub.
back.
That's a big dub. All right, Oregon State. I don't know.
I mean, here's the deal.
Nothing.
Here's the thing about it. It's
they
like,
were. What was it? Was it last year that they actually put together a run?
Was that Oregon State or Oklahoma State?
No, Oregon State.
Potentially the Beavers.
Yeah.
I think here's the thing about this Pac-12. Literally, those bottom three teams are irreplaceable for trash. They're bad.
They're bad. Yeah.
They're really bad.
Washington State, I will say,
Washington State can score.
they start the line where it's like, okay, at Washington State, they can potentially give the teams above them
A run for
some
their money.
trouble.
100%. I just think the consistency is so tough, and like you have the top dogs in UCLA and Arizona, like
Okay, this is very interesting stat. Even even Oregon State is 7-3 at home.
yeah, it'd be interesting to
They're
see
just
what
1-6 on the road.
It sounds like the Golden State Warriors, but yeah, it would be interesting to see who they play though. So like they played Tulsa, FAMU, Bushnell. Those are all at home.
They play Duke at home.
And they lost only by 3. Beat Washington by 1.
They played
lost
Florida
to
at home.
Lost to USC by 1. So they've lost some close games
That was at USC.
at USA. But I'm just saying in general, like some of these
Yeah.
games are decent.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this is a bad loss. Arizona State, not bad. This is a bad loss. Stanford.
They also only lost to Arizona by 12.
Yeah, for finding those diamonds.
What is it? Was that at Arizona?
No, home. They play
Oh.
at Arizona down here.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I think the thing is about them, like, I think those teams at the bottom. But I think when you get to the
Let's
middle
move
of the pack, here's my thing.
Yep.
Oregon Ducks.
What do you consider middle? So what are the teams in the middle that you consider?
I
in
would
the middle?
say. Oh, this is tough because there's 3, 4, and 6 teams. I would say I would actually, just to condense it, I would put the middle as USC, Arizona State, and Oregon.
What about Colorado and Washington State?
Well, that's what I was saying. The thing is with those, it's like that's too big of a middle for me. I think they're a little below middle.
Even though Washington and Colorado and Washington State have the same record in the conference?
Wait, what? Yeah, those 3. That's what I'm saying. Those 3 are a one step below on the outside. Because if I said the middle and I said 6 teams, that's a huge middle.
What did you say in the middle?
I said Oregon, Arizona State, and USC.
Oh, okay.
So the 3 teams that are
I gotcha.
tied, like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
said, the 3 teams that are tied, I have one step below the middle.
I got you.
So they're literally knocking on the door. If they win one more game, they could pump up to the middle.
All right, I got you.
But so for those 3 teams, and it's like the difference is like you said, USC is a potential team that could make a decent run.
Mm-hmm.
Like they could. They really are that good.
Yep.
And so when I look at it, it's like you have those teams at the top that are guaranteed. I don't know how Utah's 7-3 in the conference. They're playing well. I don't know
That's because they're 10-2 at home.
Yeah, and I don't know if Utah. Yeah, they have quite a bit of road games, but they still do play UCLA at home and USC. So maybe I think they'll make it, but it's just like those other three teams that I said in the middle. My most likely team would be USC making the tournament.
You don't think
if there was only one of those three. I think them and Arizona State will. I don't think Oregon will.
Right. I agree with that.
So I think those 5 teams would make the tournament.
But if you also look at the overall record, because let's be honest, if they don't beat UCLA, Arizona, or win away games at, I don't know, Arizona State or USC or Utah. So those teams right there, if they don't win away games there, then they're not getting the quad 1 or 2 or whatever wins.
Right.
And so now their resume just in general is not looking as good.
Right. I truly think out of those 3 teams, and I mean, here's the deal.
Jesus.
At the end of the year, Arizona State plays at Arizona, at UCLA, at USC.
That is a gauntlet.
So if you can somehow win one of those games,
all in 1 week?
Yeah, it's
holy crap.
Hopefully it's not finals week.
It sounds like spring break to me.
Yeah, for real. Well, it's 2/25, so they play Arizona a week before, but they play UCLA and USC the same week.
Jesus.
But what I'm saying is, like, so if they can
road
somehow
trip
sneak
out
out
on the West Coast.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, they played at Oregon. They beat Oregon on the road. So, like, they'll still get to the chance to prove it, but you got to beat those. Like, when they play each other again, they got to win those games.
It'd be nice for them if they won at least one of those games. I mean, they're projected to lose all of them.
Oh, 100%.
On the road against the best teams in the conference. But if they can somehow sneak one of those out, now we might be talking. Get another one of them in the Pac-12 tournament?
Yeah. Might as well. It gives your odds better.
Exactly. All right, so basically what we're saying is tournament teams for sure right now. UCLA, Arizona.
Yep.
That's pretty much it. For sure.
Yeah, I think you could put an argument potentially for Utah because they have been playing well, but I just think Utah's going to kind of fall off. I think they're riding the hot streak right now.
Are they considered in the tournament right now?
I would say they would have to be.
Let's see.
They did lose to Sam Houston State. That's bad.
Utah. Yeah, they got to be in there.
Arizona's a number 2.
We're looking at the projected bracket.
UCLA is a number 2.
I don't see Utah in there.
So Arizona State's right there.
Yeah, so Arizona State projected 11 right now. UCLA 2.
They don't have Utah?
Arizona 2.
So they must not have enough wins on the quad wins.
Yeah. They're not even in the
first 4 out because you have USC.
You got USC there.
They're not even mentioned.
I like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. So they must have to pick it up. They must have to win. I mean,
so that's 4. Those are the 4 that we had said.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Guaranteed 2.
Guaranteed 2 for sure. And then 2 are, what is that? First 4 in?
Yeah.
Or,
no.
Yeah. Last 4 in and first 4 out.
Yeah.
Are Arizona State and USC.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this. I think Arizona can make a run for it, and I also think UCLA frauds. But I think they'll make it to the Sweet 16 and then get beat. But, I mean, I think those are the 2 teams, obviously. Even when you think of Pac-12, those are the 2 teams you think about.
I would say both of them have a chance to win it all. Now that we're starting to talk about tournament, this year has been very interesting where, I mean, Dave, you mentioned it before we started recording here. The number 1 seed, or the number 1 team in the country, they're constantly losing.
It's bad. You don't want to be.
So that tells me there isn't one team that it's like, oh, this is the clear cut, like easily the favorite.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of years in the past, I mean, A lot of times it's been Gonzaga where it's like, oh, they're the best team because they never lose
They actually
in
look
their
bad.
conference. They do not look good this year. Or like last year, there was a couple teams. Baylor was in there. Was that last year?
Yep.
Baylor, Kansas, Gonzaga.
North Carolina, right?
They weren't
Necessarily in there.
I don't
I think
think
they're always up there.
I don't think they were the number one, like the top of the top.
Team. Yeah, it was probably Houston was probably close, but yeah, I mean,
so last year was like, oh, it's a 3-team race, pretty much.
But I think I heard this too I read this on Twitter. Maybe it was like a video on Twitter. If you were to look at this year in college basketball, and you were to try to say to someone who wasn't a fan of college basketball already, and you were to try to get them to be a fan of college basketball, this year would be very tough. There's not one player who it's like, okay, because like in the years past, like you look at like a Duke team that had like Zion Williamson.
Yeah.
You look at a team like RJ Barrett. You look at these guys like North Carolina had all these guys. UCLA had.
They were on the same team.
Who?
The same Duke team.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm saying is like, but then you look at like a North Carolina who had a lot of guys on the same team. You look at like what's the team? UCLA last year or even 2 years ago. Like they all have good players to follow. This year there's really not any players like that. There's not. Like Duke has a great recruiting class. Duke is below average when it comes to those top 25.
They have the number one recruiting class.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. It's just tough because it's like if you're trying to go from the outside in and sit here and say, hey, enjoy this college basketball, like if you don't have anything on it, it's pretty tough. There's really not a lot of teams where it's like, wow, I'm going to follow that team.
Yeah.
So it's
Kentucky's been bad.
Kentucky's been bad.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of other teams. Like I said, like we talked about, the number one team has not been at number one for more than like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah. So
like Houston lost to Temple.
Oh, yeah.
19-point favorites and they lost. North Carolina was number one to start the year.
The Temple Owls.
They're not even ranked.
Yeah. If you're looking for parity and teams that have a shot this year, there's a lot more than in years past.
I think this year will be a lot of fun come college March Madness because there are a lot of teams.
Yeah.
It'll be one of those things where it will be, like you said, there's so much transparency. There's so much of that it's like, holy moly, this team could make a run. And it's like whatever team gets hot, truthfully.
Exactly.
So,
like even within the same game.
1,000%.
Yep. So, all right. Well, I don't know. Is that all we want to say on Pac-12?
Who do you think is going to win the Pac-12?
The regular season?
Regular season.
Regular season, I mean, I think UCLA.
UCLA?
Yeah, they have a 2-game lead right now.
Yeah.
They're undefeated at home, which helps. And I just think overall, their team is the best.
Mm-hmm. I think they have the most experience, too.
Yeah, and I mean, Hawkes is quite good.
They said Hawkes is up for potential player of the year.
He's good.
He's up there. So, yeah, he's a solid player.
Yeah, he's good. I mean, the second option is clearly Arizona. I mean, those are easily the 2 teams that are up there. But I think, I don't know. I just think that UCLA's...
you think experience plays into it?
Experience, but they got a good guard. I think Arizona and UCLA are significantly more talented. And I think the 2-game advantage that UCLA has right now will be enough to maintain that lead in the regular season championship.
Fair.
What do you think?
Well, I think it's a good point where it's like the 2-game lead. I think...
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
Makes a huge
there's not that many conference games left.
Right, so like the difference is Arizona would basically have to win...
5-6?
No, I think it's more than that. But I think the thing is like Arizona will have to win the majority of their games. Like they can't lose a bad one. And you got to hope that UCLA loses a bad one and then also you beat them again. Right? So like I think there's a decent amount, but it's still like they only play each other one more time at UCLA. Like you said, UCLA is undefeated.
Yeah,
so
it's about 10.
So yeah, I think it's one of those things where I think UCLA with that 2-game lead is big.
Yep, it's getting down to it.
Yeah, nitty gritty.
All right, well there we go. UCLA regular season champs, projected regular season champs, and we'll go with that.
Bang bang.
All right, what was that? 45?
4-5.
It's a wrap.